Hi, welcome to Pictures, Noise and Words. I'm Hedgy.
I'm Paz.
And it's Friday the 13th of December.
So something's going to go wrong.
It's Friday the 13th of December, yeah, what could possibly go wrong? And I don't usually do a date check, but tomorrow, the 14th of December, would be the 2-year anniversary of this channel. It was literally the 14th of December when I uploaded the very first thing 2 years ago. So, yes. So there you go. And that's it, really. I've not got anything to say about that. Just thought I'd make
You should at least have a party.
I know. Woo. So
it's a kind of a celebration video. Then.
One of the first videos I did was Love Bites. I think it was Shadowmaker. I think.
Yeah.
Recommended by you.
Was it?
Pretty sure it was. Yeah. Oh.
I don't think it was.
Oh, was it? No. Okay. Anyway, one of the first videos we did, all of my research coming to the fore again, was a Love Bites video. And if you think that's why we're doing this now, you're wrong, because it's sheer coincidence. Because they just happen to have put out, or they're about to put out, in January 2020, another album. I mean, it's like, you know, in the old days of Iron Maiden, and you would get like album tour. So like every year there'd be a new album, wouldn't there? And Love Bites seem to be doing the same thing. I mean,
and as far as I'm concerned, that's what you should be doing.
No. You take 6 years off, and then you put out something that's 35 minutes long, and tell everyone it nearly killed you to make it.
Oh right, yeah. Oh sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that's what you do, and then you put out some half-assed thing.
I'm of the ilk where if you've got like a chemistry or a good writing vibe, a prolific vibe, just get as much out as you can.
Absolutely.
Because your audience will be there for you, and will probably still be there for quite a long time because you're giving the people what they want. I can't understand why it takes bands so long to follow up.
And I've mentioned, I mean, I know you're not a fan, but there's a band called Lord of the Lost who I like them. I'm not a big fan or anything, but they were literally on tour. They had a day off in their tour, so they filmed a whole music video on their day off in their tour. So and put out some more, product, if you want to be really, really mean about it, and then they put out an album, and then they do something else, and they do something else, and they seem to be always working and always doing their job, I suppose. And now they're on tour with, they're about to do a stadium tour with Iron Maiden. So, it kind of, it pays off, doesn't it? And you wonder why some bands, they go away for literally for years and they say, we've been on tour. And it's like, well, so you should have written a ton of stuff.
Yeah. Perhaps, I mean, some people don't.
While you're on the tour bus or
it depends
bored out your brains.
How people write music. They probably can't do it on tour.
Yeah, maybe. But
still, I think if it's your job and you have the privilege to earn a living doing music, I think for you to have a full career out of it, surely you should be churning the stuff out, because if you
don't get much more prolific than Fuki.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
To bring it back to this band,
but plus, if your band happens to find an audience, why risk the audience moving on to other drifting off because you not got round to writing that second, third, or what the following up album? It's taken you 4 or 5 years to do it, so your audience has drifted off, and their musical taste has changed in that time as well. I'm not
writing down the album cover, the album, so that I can go and buy it in my magical book. I'm writing down a note for myself because we should get on playing this, because I've got something on that what you're just saying, but we get accused of saying far too much before we play the song.
Right, okay.
Otherwise, you'll have a podcast and then a song at the end. Yeah. Let me just make a note for myself.
I should at this point say, or should I say at the end, or go into it more at the end, that I saw them supporting Dragon Force a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
I can go into that later.
Yeah, we'll go into that later too. So, we already like Love Bites, so we're already predisposed to like this. I have not heard a single note of this. I don't know, absolutely no idea what we're getting. Well, that's not true. I know what we're getting. That's a complete lie. But I've not heard this.
Let's guess. It's going to be 100 miles an hour. You're going to get a 2-minute guitar solo where they all show off.
And another one at the end.
And the drummer is, as usual, is probably going to give it a all, but come away with no credit whatsoever. And the singer's just going to go, ah, you know, into the rafters, and it's
and
can't wait.
People watching this are probably already Love Bites fans.
Maybe.
They're just waiting for us to stop talking and get on with it. No.
we were right in our predictions. I think we were.
And that's how you make a 6-minute song seem like 4.
I know.
I mean, God, I mean, you can hear the Iron Maidens, but God, I wish Iron Maiden were that exciting to listen to. I wish they looked that good as well, but that's a separate thing.
This song in particular really speaks to the bit inside me that got into Halloween in the first place.
I was going to say Halloween because in the instrumental break, it went very harmonised Halloween-y, didn't it? And I thought, yeah! This is fun. I mean, this world-class power metal. Shut your eyes, forget the how they look and all of that stuff. Listen to what they're doing. It's top-class power metal, without a doubt. And I have got something to say about the drummer, but since she said they get no credit whatsoever.
She's a tour de force. I think she just gets pushed to the back. And she's driving this band, right? And I think she's great. In fact, the whole rhythm section. It's. I think it changed key more times than Eurovision song as well. Which is great. It was over the top. It was bombastic, and I love it. And that's one of the reasons why I got into Halloween in the first place, because they wrote these fast tunes with great musicianship and great harmonies, and the solos there, technically great to listen to as well. Yeah,
and I'm not blind. They look fantastic. I'm not. I can't help that, can I? But if they didn't sound any good, I would write them off. Like I would write anybody else off. I wouldn't follow a band because it looks good in high heels. I nearly said something like, otherwise I'd be following, and I nearly named somebody then, but that would be a bad thing.
I'm sure.
But they're the real thing when you listen, and the drummer is driving that like a steam train, but also technically is doing the do. If you go back and listen, you'll hear her playing a counterpoint to what she's playing on the ride bell. You can literally hear it go ding, 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 which is a bit Iron Maiden-y, to be honest, but it's damn hard. Let's put it that way. You're flying along with your leg, and you and ting, 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 ting. You're literally playing like a tune with your right hand on the right cymbal, and it's that stuff that elevates you from being a band to being something special, and people go, well, that sounds really good, and they may not exactly know what it is they're hearing, and what you're hearing is expertise and quality. And like, I'm sure, I mean, the guitar work all looks fantastic to me, but I don't pick up on the nuances of it. I just think, wow, that sounds really good. And I'm probably picking up on stuff. I just don't know what I'm picking up on. Whereas you'll go, oh, I see what they did there, kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it flew along, didn't it? It flew along. It was totally like...
Yeah, that song in particular played to all their strengths, and stronger than a lot of stuff on the last album, Clockwork Immortality, I think it was. I enjoyed it, a bit of a mixed bag. My favourite off this, NDO, was a brilliant song off that. This is up there with that. But it plays to their strengths, and what is worrying, they're sort of building a rod for their own back, really, because you get a song that...
Where'd you go from it?
When you have a song that doesn't have soaring vocals, goes 100 miles an hour, and has great instrumental breaks, you sort of go, oh. This song didn't do that. That's a shame. Oh, I'm joking.
No, but I know what you mean. You can be a victim of your own success, sort of thing. But they don't look like they're slowing down, do they? They don't look like they're planning on slowing down.
And this is perfect. I think they're a fantastic band. David Allen was brilliant. EP was brilliant. So the next one for me was a little bit of a mixed bag, but even if it's a mixed bag, who cares? 12 months later, you got another album.
Yes, and which brings us right back round to releasing stuff regularly.
And also the production on this. I think the guitars, the mid range, the guitars are sort of slightly taken back a little bit, so it's less. The guitars are less grating, and the mix was was great. I think it's the best mix they've had.
Good to me.
To go into live.
Yeah.
Live were amazing. I kind of felt a bit sorry for them really, because they had to follow the first band on, but not really. That was a duo called McRocklin and Hutch, who, technically speaking, were really good. The guitar player was amazing, but the songs were. Imagine someone put on the back catalogue of Jan Hammer and someone just soloing over the top of it. It wasn't the most captivating of music, and probably not the right stuff for a room full of Dragon Force fans. So they had to follow that. So the audience felt particularly flat when they came on, and they didn't come on going, "Hey, we're Love Bites." They came on, had to set up their own stuff really and make sure they're all tuned in, etc. So they didn't come on as a surprise. They were doing the do, and then with the guitars and twisting, and then they just started. So there's no great introduction, and they were so short of room because of Dragon Force's egos, because they had two huge, what we didn't know at the time, arcade games, like 4 times the size. They were massive, and because of
took up half the stage.
Yeah, so they had no room, so they just kind of stood there and played because that was all the room that allowed them to have to do. So I kind of feel sorry, but first couple of songs they sort of warming up, and I think they played Shadowmaker, and the whole thing just for me, Shadowmaker is their best song so far, and the whole audience just went onto their side then, and I can't remember the singer's name. She was terrific. It's my catchphrase. What a great front lady from getting the audience going. Even when it was flat, she did a really good job. The only downside was we were stood just left of centre, not near the front, but fairly near the front. And Miyako was stood on the right hand side and we were stood on the left. Yeah, because I love her.
Just saying,
because she's lovely.
So I wrote down in my book, which is not necessarily about Love Bites, so you can all switch off now, was about people releasing stuff regularly. And if you release stuff regularly and you evolve as a band, your audience will evolve with you. But if you put out an album and then 3 years later you put out something else, but you've evolved as a band in between because of your experiences and everything, suddenly you're putting out something that is nothing like the last album you put out.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And you see that, don't you? Where so it makes it seem like the next album is not as good, or it's like you've got a different thing entirely, and it's just because of there's just been too big a gap, and something has changed along the way. Sometimes half the band has changed along the way because 3 years have passed, And
Metallica are a good example of that because they released fairly regularly. What did they do? Is it Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Puppets, Justice for All, and the Black Album? They did 5 albums in 6 years, was it, or something like that? Correct me if I'm wrong. Or could have been.
I'm sure somebody will.
I mean, that's quite prolific to what they did compared to what they do now. And then suddenly it was about 4 or 5 years between the Black Album and Load.
And a different band.
It did sound like a different band, and it was too much of a jarring change. And so I'm getting me as an old school fan. I'm never a big fan of Metallica anyway, but I always like the early stuff. It's not for me anymore because they've evolved without actually putting anything out. If they'd gone to, what you're saying, evolved to the Load side of music and released 2 albums in between those 4 years,
maybe people would have. It would have been an easier transition, shall we say?
Yeah,
because they lost me at that point.
Yeah. I think for that precise reason.
Yeah, it was just like, what's this? This isn't Metallica. Oh well, maybe they'll put something out next time that's more likely to no. Because they changed. Anyway, it's very well documented, that, isn't it? But yeah, so back to this. That was a stonker.
It was
stonking.
Yeah, and compared to the last video we did, which is Rising, 12 months ago.
I can't believe that was last December.
That one was all right. This was it's just brilliant.
This was great.
Yeah,
it was great, and people will if you're a fan, you're just going to say, yeah, that was just great. You know, there's not, and even if you're not a fan, but I suspect that everyone watching this already knows who they are.
Yeah.
So new album, ta-da, coming out
29th of January.
Somewhere in January, yes. Yeah. 29th, yes. Cool. On that note, see you soon.
See you now.
Bye.